All right. So,
Onto the
have you
music
played
club or something?
Have you played the game?
No, but I did start to watch clips from the game.
Jesus Christ, Stevie.
All right, I gotta ask you this though: did you finish The Last of Us,
I did.
the TV show?
I did.
All right, nice. What did
And
you
the
think of
game.
What did you think as a game player? I have not played the game. You
I
played the
really
game.
wish I could see this without knowing the game. Like, I want to know how people.
It was interesting because I was watching it with like
You're halfway there, like where you know.
I know the beginning point and I know the end point, but I don't really know how they get to that end point.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know
Yeah.
that first half. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
But I was watching with people who did, and like the people who did were like calmly watching it throughout the whole thing, and the people who didn't were like, no, nah, no, and that was me. I was like the airplane thing was happening. I was like, no, 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 and then
Yeah.
like I don't know. There was just multiple times where I'm like, no, no, no.
It is like from a game watcher or from a game player's like standpoint, like you're definitely like you know what's going down, but also it's just like they are kind of like just leading in a little bit other ways. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're not
Well-
changing anything, but the way they're telling the story is slightly different.
So like one change I noticed, and they like do a nod to the difference too in the show, is that in the game, the neighbor runs up and hits the glass window,
Mhm.
and his name is Jimmy,
Mhm.
and he's like, Jimmy, why are you being like, and he keeps
Yeah.
running into the window, right?
Yeah.
But in the show,
They
it's
say
the,
Jimmy's
it's
house.
the grandma, and they're driving past, and they're like, Jimmy's house is on fire,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, that's Jimmy.
But in the game, I'm pretty sure they say someone's house is on fire too.
I think there is a house on
Yeah.
fire eventually, but
Yeah, and they say like, "Oh, that's blah blah blah's place."
yeah,
You know, like
I thought it was a nice tribute to being like,
Yeah.
it's not Jimmy that's the first one affected, but
yeah.
there's other little small details that I didn't know
Yeah.
about too.
I mean, same shirt in the daughter. You
'Cause,
know,
like,
the daughter's wearing the same exact shirt.
I guess like in the game it's grain, and that might be talked about more in the show.
What?
But isn't like grain, like the grain factory or flour factory, is affected with the fungi?
Oh, I don't know, maybe. You know what I mean? Like I
I
what
heard,
in that very beginning?
I heard in the beginning that people that ate like grain were the people that were affected.
Okay.
And like if you
Maybe.
notice, there are like he turns down the biscuits because he's on Atkins, and then she turns down the cookie that they make there, and then he
Mm.
doesn't bring a cake home. So like they
Mm.
dodge the grain in the show, but they don't
Okay.
mention that it's the grain. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that
Maybe
was a nice
so.
detail.
Was that something on the TV in the video game? You think? I was gonna say that'd be like the only.
I think so. I
Yeah.
honestly just saw.
I'd say that'd be
TikTok
the
on
only
it.
really chance they could.
I just saw a TikTok on it,
Yeah.
and they were
Okay.
pointing out those details.
Because the game is really just the house.
Right.
At the very beginning. You know, it's them hanging out. It's Joel's birthday.
Yeah.
You know, the whole watch scene happens, and then they go to bed, and then she wakes up. That's
Yeah.
why the beginning is like extra suspenseful, because you're like, oh wait, like all right, they're taking a little time with it, you know,
Yep.
but it's great, you know.
When like as a non-video game player, that like news intro from the '60s
Yeah.
added like a lot of suspense for me because I was like, oh, like they're setting
I
up.
could
a
not think
possibility.
of what that dude was from.
Silicon Valley.
I was like, I know him. And you know what I said too? I said, I've only seen him in one thing, but I know him so well, and I can't think of it. And
He's
that's
also in an
funny.
episode of Mystic Quest.
Yeah, I never
If you
seen
ever watched
that.
it, but I had like heard about that phenomenon with fungi on like a podcast at some point, but it like
Well, with the fact that it's like a real thing or something?
yeah,
kind of?
just like the world heating up might lead to like different things becoming available or like being able to survive. But I thought the first episode was great. Like the setting was really cool. Like the
Yeah.
world building, all of the actors were phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
his daughter was an incredible actress.
Yeah.
And Ellie, I thought was great.
Bro, the first song they played was Avril Lavigne. Tomorrow, like, let go, Avril Lavigne.
With that at that moment where you're just like, yeah, this show's gonna be good.
You know, yeah, it's just, there's certain times where, like, Avril Lavigne just comes at very specific moments on certain shit that I'm just like, you know what? I know things are just right in the universe right now. You know, like,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just perfect. That's just, like, fate for me right there. Like, they started the show, the best show, the highest rated show of all time.
Dude, I mean, like, I think they're setting up.
You think it's going to stay that way?
I think so. I think it has appeal outside of just like the video game world.
Oh, of course.
And it's a different take on zombies,
Yeah.
and I think that's interesting.
And it's not like a long drawn out thing like
No,
Walking Dead.
no, they get to it.
Yeah.
They
And
got
like the
to it
whole
right away.
part 2
I'm
is
excited to see.
nothing about fucking zombies.
I'm excited to see where like this shit goes for season 1, because like I said, I know where it's gonna end up.
You
but
know
the
where
stuff in
part
the
2
middle-
goes.
Yes, yes, yeah. I know like all the big plot details, but I'm excited for like the journey. And I think
Mhm.
the journey is gonna be really interesting and suspenseful. And did you notice that little thing at the end of the episode?
What?
I could pull it up really quick.
What?
As it's panning out and they're walking away in that city. I don't know what this kind of thing is. It'll mean more to you because you play the game. But there's a clicker on one of the buildings that you can
Mm.
see. Like they like pan out and you can just like barely see it, but like
Yeah, I guess we haven't fucking seen a clicker yet.
I gotta see if I can pulling up this little TikTok. So it's this like ending clip and it pans out and then you could just see it barely in the thunder. But there's a clicker on the top of the building just screaming. Do you see it?
Crazy.
And I'm like, oh shit, it's about to go down next episode.
Yeah.
But I also don't know what a clicker is. It could be a good thing. Maybe it's one of their friends.
Yeah, this is gonna be great. I love the setup, man. Ellie is right for me. She's doing good already. Like,
Her energy seems like
yeah, she captured it.
I like when she
That'd
was
be
like,
such a fun role. I feel like for the I get why like that one like even Caitlin Dever or the other Game of Thrones girl like getting it like I'm sure they all really wanted that one, and that'd be like a fun one to get. I feel like.
yeah. Dude, I was cracking up at the moment where she was just like, yeah, this 80s, whatever song she said, she was like kind of describing an 80s song. He was like, oh shit, what? And she's like, I gotcha. I figured it out now. That was a nice moment.
Yeah.
But the moment where like he's going off at that guard, like smacking him in the face, and she's just like in the thunder, like, oh yeah, like get him. I'm like, oh shit. This is about to be like a little bit of a toxic father-daughterness.
Well, I don't know. I think there was a little sense of she was like a little frightened.
Yeah.
Like because he looked back even just kind of like.
She looked a little scared, but also like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
But there was earlier where it was like the one girl was like, I know what you're capable of, and she was like, what are you capable of? You know.
I feel like there was like an element of like she found her home, if that makes sense. Like she's like, someone who gets me a little bit. Because like she even grabbed that knife and she stabbed the dude right away.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, she's.
But
she's a
like,
badass
I don't know.
bitch.
She kind of needed to do that. Like
Yeah.
she didn't do that in that situation. I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah.
But solid first episode. Go check it out if you haven't.
Yeah.
We'll keep our TV club spoiler free on it. Well, I mean,
mean-
up to where the episodes are.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not really much to spoil. You know what I mean? This is just an experience. Like.
I know. I'm sure there's gonna be characters that'll die though, and I just don't know. I don't know who dies and who doesn't in part 1.
I mean, honestly, there's not a lot of characters. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, if any zombies die, I'll be sad. I love zombies.
zombies are dying.
I love zombies.
But we met everybody. Marlene, Tess, like.
Yeah, I like that this episode was more about the systems that changed and how living in those systems are vastly different. More than it like
Yeah.
how beating zombies is.
Yeah, I mean that's
Like
the
it
whole.
really was like, oh shit, there's all these weird dynamics and like ways you have to live life now that like
Yeah.
there's like a serious disease
Yeah.
zombiness going around.
Yeah, you kind of need to be protected, but that also means that you're like under like a fucking.
Your rights and like
Yeah, like it's
freedoms are stripped,
Yeah, exactly, and
but you're still alive.
that's the whole thing about Last of Us. You know what I mean? It is 26 years later or whatever. You
Yeah.
know, like this isn't about zombies anymore. This is
It's
about
about
living
the last
in the
of
world.
us,
Yeah,
you know, it's about the last.
it's about
people.
living in the world of zombies. Yeah.
No, this shit's cool.
Yeah, the title is good.
Title's great.